The world is full of interesting, fun, and sometimes disturbing facts that you may not have been taught about in school. For instance, everybody knows about World War One and Two, who the first person to walk on the moon was. The following list is a few interesting things that you may not have known. For example, did an American president really get stuck in a bathtub? Or did you know about the bishop that owned a brothel? Or even who the first person was to pee on the moon? I'm DMW84, and today I learned these 5 random facts. They may not be much use, but they are certainly interesting, and they may also come in handy during a pub quiz. 3 nuns and a missile base. In 2003, Dominican sisters Ardeth Platt, Carol Gilbert, and Jackie Hudson were sentenced to between 31 and 41 months in a federal prison for trespassing on the N8 silo in 2002, where they poured vials of their own blood on the rails leading to the silo and drew crosses on the silo's hatchet door. It seems that they were pretty hardcore. The N8 silo wasn't the nuns' first protest. They were arrested several other times on Air Force property in 2000 and 2001 respectively, each time marking weapons or aircraft with their own blood. In an interview, Platt recalled her arrest at the missile silo in 2002. The guards had us face down on the ground, and it was a very cold morning, and they held their guns on us, she said. But we were teaching them, look, you can never be part of this. You can't kill men, women and children. When the Air Force slapped the nuns with a claim for $3,080 in fines, the women said they were travelling and had taken their Dominican order's vow of poverty. They then spearheaded a food donation drive for military family members on food stamps, but the delivery was turned away by the Air Force. That food ended up at a Denver rescue mission. In 2008, the nuns had been released from prison. The ACLU helped them protest their inclusion on a Maryland state terrorist list. In at number 4 we have guard llamas. Now most people will have heard of guard dogs, but have you ever heard of a guard llama? A guard llama is a llama or an alpaca that is used in farming to protect either sheep, goats, hens, or other livestock from predators such as coyotes, dogs and foxes. In the past, a single castrated male was recommended. However, in more recent years, it's been discovered that a single unbred female makes better and safer guardians. They also don't pose a risk of attempting copulation or chasing the smaller livestock. Llamas are instinctively alert and aware of their surroundings and may draw attention to an intruder by making a startling alarm call that sounds like a rusty hinge. They may walk or run toward an intruder, chase or kick, or spit at it. Others may stand apart from the group and watch the intruder. Although llamas have been known to kill predators such as coyotes, they should not be considered attack animals. They're generally effective against single intruders only, not packs. Guard llamas have been most common on ranches located in the western United States, where larger predators such as a coyote have been more prevalent. Not every llama will guard though, and it should not be assumed that because it is a llama it will guard. Research suggests that use of multiple guard llamas is not as effective as one. Multiple males tend to bond with one another rather than with the livestock, and may ignore the flock. A gelded male of 2 years of age instinctively bonds with its new charges, and is very effective in preventing predation. Some llamas may appear to bond more quickly to sheep or goats if they are introduced just prior to lambing. Many sheep and goat producers indicate a special bond develops quickly between lambs and their guard llama, and the llama is particularly protective of the lambs. Most research of the effectiveness of guard llamas has been done with sheep. A 1990 study reported that 80% of sheep producers with guard llamas rated them as effective or very effective. The study found average rates of loss to predators fell from 21% to 7% after the introduction of a guard llama. In other studies, over half of guard llamas completely eliminated losses due to predators. Dogs and coyotes have been injured and even killed by llamas. In at number 3, we have the US President and the bathtub. Topping the scales at over 350 pounds, William Howard Taft was a true political heavyweight. Although Big Bill was the only man to serve as both US President and Supreme Court Chief Justice. What's most remembered about Taft is that he supposedly became stuck in a White House bathtub. This story, however, apparently, pardon the pun, doesn't hold water. No documentary evidence backs this up. The funny part is that while Taft was president, the White House got a tub that was so big, a president couldn't possibly get stuck in it. Just weeks after Taft's 1908 election, the captain of a warship carrying the president-elect to inspect the Panama Canal requested a supersized bathtub capable of holding the heftiest man ever to occupy the Oval Office. Since no Taft-sized basin could be found, a Manhattan company specially crafted the largest solid porcelain tub ever made for an individual. It was more than 7 foot long and 41 inches wide, and it weighed a ton. Literally. A photograph in February 1909 issue of the journal Engineering Review showed the pond-like presidential bathtub with 4 men comfortably inside it. Newspapers reported that similarly spacious tubs were installed in the White House, on Taft's presidential yacht, and inside his brother's summer house in Texas. After leaving the White House in 1913, Taft moved into a suite in New Haven, Connecticut, a hotel with an immense bathtub that the Philadelphia Inquirer reported was deep enough to allow an ordinary-sized man to float when it was filled. 2 years later, the ex-president's bathing habits again made news when, at a Cape May, New Jersey hotel, he failed properly to consider the size of the average seashore hotel bathtub. The water displaced by his tremendous girth flooded the floor and trickled onto the heads of guests in the downstairs dining room. As a wistful Taft gazed out at the Atlantic Ocean the next morning, he said, "I'll get a piece of that fenced in someday, and when I venture in, there won't be any overflow." Number 2. The Winchester Geese. The Liberty of the Clink was an area in Southwark on the south bank of the River Thames, opposite the City of London. Although situated in Surrey, the Liberty was exempt from the jurisdiction of the county's High Sheriff, and was under the jurisdiction of the Bishop of Winchester, who was usually either the Chancellor or Treasurer to the King. The Liberty lay outside the jurisdiction of the City of London and that of the county authorities of Surrey, and some activities forbidden in those areas were permitted within it. In 1161, Bishop Henry of Blois was granted the power to license prostitutes and brothels in the Liberty by King Henry II. The prostitutes were known as the Winchester Geese, and many are buried in Crossbones, an unconsecrated graveyard. Similarly, to be bitten by a Winchester goose meant to contract a sexually transmitted disease, and goosebumps was slang for the symptoms of the sexually transmitted disease. Theatres and playhouses were allowed in the Clink, and the most famous was the Globe Theatre, where William Shakespeare performed his plays. Another was the Rose, where Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe both premiered plays. Both bull and bear baiting were also permitted. And finally, at number 1, the first person to pee on the moon. Everyone knows that the first man in space was Yuri Gagarin, and that Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. There were also a lot of other firsts during the initial lunar landings, especially during the very first Apollo 11 mission. First words spoken from the moon and so on. Here's a fun little fact though, one that few people but Apollo 11 enthusiasts know about: the first man to pee on the moon. And that man was Buzz Aldrin, the lunar module pilot, and the second man to ever set foot on the moon. But technically he didn't actually pee on the moon. Aldrin took his lunar leak into a special bag in his spacesuit before trying to climb Apollo 11's lander's ladder. Everyone has their firsts on the moon. That one hasn't been disputed by anybody, he said in the 2007 Apollo program documentary, Shadow of the Moon. And that's my list. Did you know any of these? Are there any other interesting facts that you know that others might find interesting? Then please feel free to leave us a comment below. I've been DMW84, and if you've enjoyed this episode, then please do give us a like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified when new episodes drop. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-da. It's a lot of drama for our armor.